and welcome along to the Invincible podcast with my man Lee Judge is in the building. It's good to be here. No European football league.
No cup draw. Not even interested.
Not even interested. We will get into that in the show today. We're also going to be talking about our game coming up at the weekend. Crystal Palace. No manager bounce, you know what I mean? Because they've got no manager because they've sacked Patrick Vieira.
Our legend, how dare them do that?
How dare you
do that, Crystal Palace?
But they have sacked Patrick Vieira, so that makes the game a bit more interesting, a bit more spicy. But yeah, Lee, good to have you on. I mean, we were sparring a bit.
Well, yeah, bang out of order. I've still had I've talked to you like, you know what I mean? I've even had phone calls like from very, very close personal people from the shows, you know, saying, "Whoa, Robbie was a bit out of order towards you." I said, "Yeah, he was, wasn't he?"
I was not out of order.
Can give it to me. Give me two barrels.
I was just giving.
You was happy with that team. I've had James saying it as well. You was happy with that team.
All right, just to give everybody context to what we're talking about, and don't forget the show is brought to you by AFTV Picks, right? Don't forget today you got a chance to win £10,000 on the Saturday Pick10 and 1,500 in the Crystal Palace special. I'll give you more details on those later on. But what it is, obviously Arsenal knocked out of the Europa League by Sporting Club Portugal. I keep saying Sporting Lisbon. A guy last night told me it's Sporting Club Portugal, Sporting CP. And we're out of European football. Now, what happened is after the game, me and Lee, we were doing an interview. Lee started telling me how he was very unhappy with the chopping and changing by Arsenal. And all I did was remind Lee that when we did the starting 11 before the game and the starting 11 was read out, you said you were happy with that starting 11.
Yep.
Right? So you can't go moaning after the game about how the manager's chopped and changed, because you agreed with what he did. You were happy with what he did. So give the man a break.
I can moan and do what I bloody
well,
want.
Yeah, you can. I know you can moan. Yeah. That's for sure. You can moan. But
listen, I don't think I really got it. What I was saying from it. This is how I feel. This is how I feel about the competition. Whatever. If that team that he started with, yes, no problems with it. My beef was when he started, when we went 1-1. He brought on other players to try and win it. I would have just kept it as the same. And if we'd have won, fantastic. If we'd have lost, it didn't matter.
Don't you want to go through?
Well, we didn't go through anyway.
No, we didn't.
No.
But we nearly went through. We just gone out on penalties.
My feeling towards this tournament has always been, yes, we rotate in it and save our best players for the Premier League. Right? That's what I would say. I went to Portugal last week, fuming. If I'll be honest, when I see Saka on the pitch, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see Saka. Like, I don't want to see those players. My point being is that if we'd have won with that team yesterday and rested everybody, fantastic. If we'd have lost, okay, not the end of the world. But my beef now, not beef, it's the wrong word to say. Like, you know what I mean? What I'm not happy about is that we now go into Fulham with
Crystal Palace.
Sorry, Crystal Palace. We played Fulham last week, in which we showed fantastic, energies.
Yeah.
Gabriel, 120 minutes. Ben White, nearly like over 100 minutes yesterday. Shinchenko, 120 minutes. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Like Shinchenko, 120 minutes. Like Xhaka, 120 minutes. Martinelli, 120 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, and at the end of that 120 minutes, we didn't win. You know what I mean? Like, so that's what I'm saying. I would have been happy.
Yeah, but you can't predict that, can you? Before
I know you can't. But all I'm saying is, I was happy when, and honestly, you can ask my mate this. When I see Saka and Partey coming on, I weren't happy. I was going, I leave them. Like, you know, let's see what they can do. I get it.
But we improved when they came on, and we nearly went through.
Well, yeah, but we didn't.
My thing is this, yeah, right. Last night I come out of the game, I'm disappointed. You know what I mean? Anytime Arsenal play, I want us to win.
Of course.
Right? But I said to Julian, I said to Julian, what would you rather? Win tonight or win on Sunday? If before the game somebody says to you, you can only have one outcome.
Well, we might not get either.
Right? We might not get either, but I'm just saying hypothetically, you're offered it, win on Sunday or win on Thursday. I said to him, win Sunday.
Oh, of course.
Right? You know what I mean? For me, right, I've woken up this morning and I'm even less like, normally I wake up the day after a defeat and I'm just like, oh my God. I even woke up and I had to do Best of Enemies, right, with Expressions and KG. They're bantering me about the loss, but I noticed that they weren't full on hard, right? And I was saying to them, no, I thought you lot would be going in harder. And they go, yo, no, because now we're worried that now this could actually work out for the better.
Well,
and that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Is it a blessing or is it a curse? Because when you think about it now, Arsenal can now concentrate on the league. The focus now is on the league and on the league only. And I just look on it and I say, you only got to look at the Europa League all along and what we've done.
Yeah, it's been poor.
We've been resting players, rotating. There is not one Europa League game we played where we went without what we would deem to be our strongest side at the time.
Which we would have had to in the later rounds, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. We'd have to do that in the later rounds. So I look on it now, right? You know, the Manchester City, they are still in the Champions League, right? Manchester City have drawn Bayern Munich in the Champions League, which is a very difficult draw.
Lovely.
Manchester City are desperate to win the Champions League. Manchester City, when they're faced with the games that they've got coming up, and I think I had a look at them. Let me see if I still got it here, right? So as it stands, that's quarterfinal. Just before that, they will have, so they'll come back from the international break. They'll have Liverpool at home. Then they'll have Southampton away. Then during the week, they have to go, a couple of days later on the 11th of April, they have to go and play, or well, not go and have to play, but they play in Bayern Munich at home. Yeah? Then they go on the weekend away to Leicester.
Is it away at Leicester or at home?
Sorry, at home to Leicester. Then in the second leg, they've got Bayern Munich again, right? Which again, they're going to have to, that's away in Bayern. Unless they've got maybe a 7-0 lead like what they had the other day, right? They're going to have to go hard in that game. And then the following game, they're at home to Brighton.
Then us.
No, sorry, they're away to Brighton, then they play us. So
they've got no free week.
They've got no free week. They're going to have to go, you can't go to Bayern resting players.
No.
You know what I mean? You go to Bayern resting players, you'll get knocked out of the Champions League. You get knocked out of the Champions League, everyone's going to be going to City, so you bottled the Champions League again, but they're under a lot of pressure, right? Whereas with us now, when I look at how it affects us, if we would have qualified for the next round, we would have had Liverpool away.
Yep.
Followed by a Europa League quarterfinal first leg.
Yep.
Right, on Thursday, the 13th of April. Then on that weekend, we would have had to have gone away
to West Ham.
Which, even though we've got a great record against West Ham, wouldn't be easy. Yeah.
They're playing in the conference that week.
They'll be playing in the Conference League that Thursday, which is something that I'm sure they're going to want to win, even though they are fighting for their lives but they'll want to win. Right? But we'll have a whole week's rest. West Ham won't.
Let's hope they're travelling.
Let's hope they're travelling. Away to Lithuania or something like that. But
the furthest place they can go, that's what we want them.
The week after that, which would have been the second leg, right, to that, the following game after that is Southampton at home, right? So again, we go into that game fully rested. No game during the week, just focus, Southampton at home at the weekend. Then say we would have got through there and got to the semi-final. On the 11th of May, we would have played Newcastle at the weekend away. Then on the Thursday, you'd have a semi-final. Now remember, you're going to be up against good teams.
Yeah, you can't
be resting.
No.
Once you get to a semi-final, you can't be about we're going to rest Saka, rest. Those guys got to play.
Yeah.
Right? And then after that, we would have had Brighton at home, which is not an easy game. Brighton have turned us over at home many a time before. Right? And then the second leg to that semi-final, on that weekend, after following the Brighton, so it'd be Brighton, then we would have had the semi-final, then we would go away to Nottingham Forest. And we know, and we've seen this season, that going away to Nottingham Forest, they're a team, they're energy bunnies.
Yeah.
They're up for it. They'll probably be fighting for their lives at that stage. But we can go into that game fully rested
None
and
of this
focused.
Rotation, love.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah. And I made this point the other day as well, right? Sorry, I made it this morning. And I made it last night as well. Manchester United are still in the Europa League, right? And got a great chance of winning the Europa League, right? However, when you look at it, when we're talking about, because there were some fans last night when I was talking to them, and I was going, why did we shouldn't have rested anyone. We should go full strength team for every Europa League game. We need to win this. So I said to them, Manchester United, currently 16 points behind Arsenal now. Remember a few weeks ago, people were saying that
it's only 5,
they're one of them teams challenging. They're 16 points behind Arsenal, right? Manchester United, last week, when they played Real Betis, they played their strongest possible team, remember?
Yeah.
It was after the Liverpool game, they played this Casemiro, everybody was playing. Rashford, everyone, no one rested. They won 4-1. That set them up to go through the next round. They're through. Fair enough. But the question I asked to everybody was, what was the result that followed
against Southampton?
That win against Real Betis? They drew at home
to
Southampton.
Oh, I'm with you on that.
So if that's us now, I don't want that. I want the league. You know what I mean? The Europa League to me, don't get me wrong, I would have loved to have won the Europa League. But I still still look at the Europa League as a bit of a substandard competition.
Yes, I wanted to win. Look, listen, let's get this right. Let's change all the goalposts to what they are. If we're 4th in the league or 5 points off, say we're 5 points clear of 5th place in the league, and we're 4th, and we done what we done yesterday, I'd be furious.
Yeah, because you want to. Yeah, I would be.
But the goalposts have changed, Robbie. The goalposts have changed
Massively.
now to the Premier League. We have a chance of winning the Premier League. Now, we could actually come second in the Premier League and lose it in the Europa League semi-final, and because of we playing Man United or Roma. You can't, if you're going to Man United over 2 legs, you don't rest players.
Exactly.
Or Roma, you know what I mean? Like, so we haven't got that luxury. What we can do, and then go out in the semi-final, and then we've got injuries going into the last couple of games of the season, and we lose.
And then we end up losing both.
So so for me, I'm not worried about that. End of the day, we've got the goalposts have changed. We have a chance of winning the league, and if we don't win it, I'm still happy with the situation that I am, is that we've given it everything we've got.
We challenged for the league. It was some of the things.
This is a dream that we've wanted.
I want to see us challenging for the league. Of course, I want to see trophies. You know what I mean? I've been a big critic of James said something to me yesterday, and he said, hopefully, this is the last time we play in this competition for a very long time. And hopefully next year, bar an absolute disaster, we'll be in the Champions League. A lot of people haven't even been discussing that.
No.
That, top 4 gets you into the Champions League. We shouldn't be hearing that Europa League music and looking at that Europa League branding anymore, right? Hopefully, because I don't want to be in it. Europa League for me is a bit of a secondary competition. Even I look at the teams that are in it, right? Bayer Leverkusen. Look at the teams that are left in it, right? Bayer Leverkusen dropped out of the Champions League, didn't they?
Yeah.
Feyenoord have been in it from the start. Juventus dropped out of the Champions League. That's 2. Man United dropped out of the Champions League.
No, they was in it.
Oh no, they were in it from the start, innit? Yeah. Roma were in it from the start. Sevilla dropped out of the Champions League. Sporting dropped out of the Champions League. And Union St. Galois have been in it from the start. But that's half the teams that are left in it.
Yeah.
Were 3rd place finishers in the Champions League, and they still got a chance to win a trophy.
Yeah.
That's what I always say.
And
for me,
what makes
one of the
so shocking. And the other side of it is, Robbie, let's be really honest with that. You know what I mean? We were all gutted to be in this competition.
Yeah.
Gutted, so I'm not going to lose any sleep.
I'm not losing any sleep over it.
out.
I want it. Listen, that it's not sour grapes. I would have loved to have won it. You know what I mean? I know you've been at the games. You was in Lisbon. You was in Bodo Glimt. You've travelled around. I get it, right? But right now, like you said, the goalposts have changed. It's the league. I want to see Arsenal win the Premier League, and I think it is a blessing, not a curse, because it gives us the best chance now. It's a bit like, when people talk about when Leicester won the league, when Chelsea won the league that time as well, when they had no European competition.
Yeah.
When Leicester won the league, no European competition. All right, we've had European competition, but we're getting to the business end now. Now we've not got no European competition. and the team that is chasing us have got serious European competition.
Yeah, and I'll ask this question, and I'll ask it to every Arsenal fan, right? Like, you know what I mean? Do you want Man City to win the Champions League? I don't want them to win the Champions League. But do you want them to go through against Leipzig? Yes. Do you want them to go through against Bayern Munich? Yes. Do you want them to win it? No. Why? Because they're playing more games.
Yeah.
You know, I want them to get to the semi-final and get knocked out.
Yeah. By the way, Man United drew Sevilla.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they drew Sevilla.
Please.
So,
please.
you know, but yeah, and Sporting got Juventus, right? So that means, right? So there you go. So if we go off of the logic that we would have got exactly what Sporting got,
great spelling that,
right? But if we go off of the logic that we would have got exactly what Sporting got, come on, you're playing Juventus. You cannot rest players.
No. And it ain't, listen.
You can't rest players against Juventus.
I'm going to be honest. Juventus, great. I've not been to their new stadium. New stadium
would have been a lovely trip.
Lovely. But Italy ain't the greatest place to go to
watch a game of football.
No. I'll be honest. It's
I
not.
think you.
Juventus is probably
Juventus
the better one.
one of the better ones.
You don't want to go Roma, and you certainly don't want to go Napoli. You know what I mean? Like, But that one there.
But now we know what it is, right? Come on. If we were playing Juventus, you cannot rest players. You know what I mean? Vlahovic they've got, you know, all these top players. And they're desperate to win it as well because, you know, remember they've been docked all those points. So it's their route back into the Champions League.
Listen,
right?
At the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. Listen, I would love to have gone to Turin. It's a lovely city. Gone there and done that. Like, wasn't to be.
Wasn't to be. Let me just explain this to you now. So now that we know as well, it would have been Liverpool away, Juventus
at home. Was it
West Ham?
Is that how the draws come out?
I think that's how the draws come out. The draws actually going on as we're doing the show. So
did Sporting come out first?
Yeah, Sporting. Oh no, Juventus came out first.
Right.
Juventus came out first.
So that would have been 3 games away from home on the spin.
Yeah.
Liverpool away,
Juventus away,
West Ham away,
and then the following week would have been then back at home Juventus, followed by Southampton at home. That would not have been easy. People would be looking at it saying, "Oh, that's a tough run of games coming at the, squad. Who's gonna?"
I'm happy. Listen, we have a chance of winning the Premier League. Let's get this right. People have said, "Oh, yesterday I'm negative and this." Listen. I'm not going to be a Kelechi and start singing through a mic because we've lost the game. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be like that. Like, I have the ump when Arsenal lose. You know what I mean? Like, let's get that right. People say, "Oh, we're disappointed, negative." Yeah, because we've lost a game of football. But there's ways to lose games. And there's way. I wasn't unhappy. You know this for a fact. After we lost to Manchester City in the FA Cup, I wasn't because we rested players, but we put in a good performance. We rested players yesterday. Didn't when I look at those 2 FA Cup games, the FA Cup game and this game, we lost Partey after that FA Cup game from resting players, and now we've lost Saliba. You know, necessary because you rest players doesn't mean to say that you're not going to get injuries. What it does do, and I believe this because I look at the Europa League as a package. We've chopped and changed all the way through it, and what it does, you lose that cohesiveness of the team. You lose that. Look how we played against Fulham. If we'd have played like that yesterday, there would have been no.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, there's no Saka, there's no Partey, and there's no Odegaard. I think personally, our best 3 players.
Yeah.
They wasn't even.
That's
playing.
why they were rested.
Yeah.
And he rested. Remember, he rested Ben. Remember, he rested Ben White as well because he only had to come on because Tomiyasu got injured.
Yeah, and I think that's a bad one from Tomiyasu and all that.
Yeah, and he don't look good. He left the ground on crutches.
Yeah, he what happened was he went into the attack when as his leg was extended, the fella fell on him, didn't he?
Yeah. All right. So let me just give you another thing, right? To just that now. So all right. So had we have beaten, so now he's clearer. Now he's clearer. What we would have got.
The semi-finals have been drawn.
Semi-finals would have been against Man United or Sevilla.
There you go.
Right. So now we can clearly see what the pathway would have been. So this is what it would have been if we stayed in this. Right. So tell me now. I think now definitely a blessing. Right. It would have been Liverpool away, followed by Juventus at home. Away. Yeah. So Liverpool away, followed by Juventus away, followed by West Ham away, then
Juventus
the second leg Juventus at home, followed by Southampton at home. Had we then progressed and beat Juventus, right? The next game would be this. The possibility could be let's say that I think Manchester United will get past Sevilla. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Right. So then, if we would have got past Juventus, hopefully they don't, but I think they will. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So had they have got through, it would have been Newcastle away. I'm giving you the scenarios, possible scenarios. It would have been Newcastle away, Manchester United at home. Yeah. Can't rest players for that. No chance.
No.
Then Brighton at home.
Then Man United away.
Then Manchester United away, followed by Nottingham Forest away.
Yeah. Something's got to give, Robbie.
Right, and there is no way in those two games that we've just named out, right, if we would have got, I don't know, Union Galois.
Different scenario. We cannot rest players. So that's what I was saying, and that's my big point there. The deeper you go into this competition, the less chance you can rest. You'd have to think, if you was to rotate, it'd be in the Premier League games.
Yeah.
And then get the performances like you did yesterday. No, thank you.
You could have got, if you'd have got, say, Union St. Galois or maybe a Feyenoord, even though Feyenoord, decent team, they won by 7 yesterday, top of the Dutch league. You could have got Roma, Mourinho, you know what I mean? Or Leverkusen, good German side. You can't rest. Those games now, is the resting of players is over.
Yeah.
You got to go full pelt those games, then full pelt the weekend.
As Manchester City have got.
And at the moment, with our squad, even though a lot of players are coming back, but a lot of players are still on their way. Smith Rowe's on his way back. He's not fully back yet. And that, I look at the draw, and it's clear to see it would have been Juventus, right? And if we'd have beaten Juventus, it would have been probably Man United or Sevilla. No resting of players. A blessing for me.
And I'm going to say this now, right?
A blessing in disguise.
I'll guarantee you something now, right? I'll guarantee you something. When Juventus are playing Sporting, I guarantee you Thomas Partey won't be playing, will he? He'll be resting. Saka will be resting. We ain't got that worry of, he's going to go to the bench and all that. Like, we know that they'll be resting. They'll be able to prepare, eat better for training sessions to going into those games. You know what I mean? You look at Manchester City now, they've got to play, rest, play, rest, play, rest. We can play, train, play. I think we're in such a better position. Listen, of course you want to go through and all that, and I love to play, you know, Roma versus Man United could be the final. That'd be a fantastic, you know, and I'd like to be in the final. But if we wasn't in this battle for the Premier League, I'd be relishing those games. We was fought, you know what I mean? Like, but we're not. I honestly think in that game there, you'd have to be playing Man United or Juventus, you know, and then you'd have to rest a couple of players against Newcastle and all that.
And then looking at Manchester City's games now as well, right? Manchester City got to play Bayern Munich,
Yeah.
If they beat Bayern Munich, they then got to face either Chelsea or Real Madrid.
Oh, couldn't have worked out better.
In the semi-final.
Couldn't have worked out better.
So they've got, those are difficult games, right? You can't rest players in.
So they've got versus Napoli. Is that what come out?
Yeah. So it's AC. So how it came out was Real Madrid versus Chelsea, Inter Milan versus Benfica, Manchester City versus Bayern, and AC Milan versus Napoli.
They couldn't have asked for too hard a game.
AC Milan, and then they draw the semi-final as well.
Yeah.
So it's AC Milan or Napoli versus Benfica or Inter. Yeah. Right. But on the other side is the difficult side of the draw, right?
Yeah.
Is Real Madrid or Chelsea versus Manchester City or Bayern. So if Man United beat Bayern Munich, Man City, they've still got to play Real Madrid or Chelsea.
Tottenham will be kicking themselves, don't they? Like, because
what do you mean?
Well, they would have had Napoli, Benfica or Inter Milan.
I know. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you who's going to be.
Could have had a route to the final.
Napoli and Benfica must be thinking, they got a chance because they both play really well in the Champions League. But look at that. Look at that. City have got difficult games from now till the end of the season. Couldn't have worked out in a way better.
If you wanted a draw, that is the toughest route. Yeah, you wanted the toughest route for them.
That is the toughest possible route Manchester City could have got.
And also, for Arsenal, it would have been the toughest route and all. Like, to take Juventus on and then Man United. So, listen.
And now, every time they're playing those games...
I'll sleep better tonight, Robbie. I'll sleep better tonight.
Every time they're playing those games now, right, we're going to have our feet up.
Yeah, exactly right.
Right, watching those games, saying,
they're getting kicked all over the park. I'll tell you, that was another thing yesterday. Those referees, I don't know if it was... they let a lot more go in the Europa League. There was a few bad tackles flying in yesterday.
I thought the referee was really poor.
He didn't even book anybody.
Yeah,
so, like, you know, risk of getting injuries and things like that. I'm you know what I mean... Standing a referee, it was awful yesterday. Like,
it was really poor. Let me see if I can navigate my way now through. I'm trying to find City's route. Well, we know the route, but I'm just trying to. Let me see if I can go. All right, let me see if they've updated it already on their on their website, so we can have a look and see. All right. Right, so I don't think they've updated it yet. The date. No, all they put is the Bayern Munich. So they've got Man City, Bayern Munich. Yeah, they haven't updated it yet because I want to see what date those games are. Where they got to play potentially a semi-final.
Yeah. After the Brighton game, wasn't it?
I mean, they got Chelsea on the 20th of May. They could face Chelsea twice.
Listen,
honestly, that's
and a bad draw.
That ain't bad for us.
Good luck to them, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm like you, right? We wanted to get to at least the semis.
Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Good luck to Man City, like, you know what I mean? And I don't care what anybody says. Pep will play. If he's going to rest players... He will rotate in the Premier League games.
He can't rest, right? He knows the pressure. He knows the pressure he's under. Man City to win the Champions League.
That is well. Look at what Haaland said the other day. I wasn't bought to win the Premier League. I was bought here to win the Champions League.
No, but that's facts.
It's just facts. So,
right. So you know, Pep is going to have to. Well, we've seen him do it. Even the other day, he'll have like De Bruyne on the bench in the Premier League.
They still don't put in great performances after when they mix and match though. They're still good.
Yeah, but even they suffer a bit when
they suffer a little bit. Of course you do. You know. Listen, I was talking to my mate on the way in today. Like, you know, people going, "Oh, Vieira's not as good as Odegaard." We know he's not. If he was, he'd be playing every week. The drop off between Vieira and Odegaard at this moment in time is substantial. You know what I mean? Rob Holding done he was the only one yesterday that can come out.
Yeah, I thought Rob Holding played very well.
He played very well yesterday. But if you look at Nelson, I'm going to be like.
He had a poor game.
Brilliant against Brentford when he came on as a substitute. These two games that he started, he's been poor.
But what did Mikel Arteta say about players like Reece Nelson? And he was describing it. He said he doesn't like to call these players substitutes no more. He's calling them impactors.
Yeah.
And somebody like Reece Nelson...
He's an impactor.
He's an impactor. Vieira as well. They can come on and they can impact a game later on, right? But starting, you want Odegaard.
Yeah.
Starting, you want Saka. You want those guys starting.
Look at the
Reece Nelson came on.
Nelson and Saka, look at the difference.
Yeah, Reece Nelson came on. He was fire, right? Some tired players. They couldn't handle him. Something different.
Yeah. Bit of pace.
And that's how those players are going to get used, I feel, from now till the end of the season. And
the only one I was a little bit surprised with yesterday was Tierney didn't play again.
Yeah, I was surprised with that. I thought Tierney would have started. I really did. But I think, you know what I've realised, right? I think any time Mikel Arteta's looking to win a game, it's Zinchenko who plays. That is just how, you know, you can see that pattern now. Any time he's looking to win a game, Zinchenko starts. If he's like looking to hold a game, he'll bring on.
Yeah, I think Tierney, if he was well, he would have played last week.
He would have played last week. Yeah. He would have done, but he wouldn't have played. He wouldn't have played in this game.
In the next game, right? Yeah. What do you make of that goal? You blaming Ramsdale?
I was kind of blaming Ramsdale, and then I looked back on it this morning, and I was like, it is a brilliant goal, but I still think Ramsdale misjudged it.
He got there, didn't he?
I think he thought it was going to go over, and then he got there in the end, kind of. It's too late. But it's a brilliant goal. You can't take nothing away from a goal like that. It's easy to blame. I mean, I heard people blaming him for the penalties. All right, yeah, they were, but penalties are not easy to save, man. I mean, these slight misjudgment and that. So.
I thought he should have got that one when he went.
Yeah, when he pushed it, yeah.
We had that one first when he pushed into the side. I thought he saved that, and then the one that was right down there, I think he should have got that.
Yeah. But listen, I ain't blaming him. It is what it is. We're out of the Europa League, and I think it's a blessing, and I think it could help us from now till the end of the season. We're going to talk about the game we got coming up at the weekend, Crystal Palace. First of all, we got to do our pick 10.
Yeah. I've been going well with it.
It hasn't been going well at all, right? Time to redeem ourselves. What did you go? And by the way, a chance to win £10,000 in the pick 10. Aston Villa versus Bournemouth.
I've gone Aston Villa.
Ooh, I've gone Bournemouth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, I've gone a draw. Sorry. Brentford versus Leicester. Brentford for me. Wolves versus Leeds. I've gone Wolves. Southampton versus Tottenham. I've gone Southampton.
Have you really?
Yes.
I've gone a draw.
Chelsea versus Everton. I've gone for a draw.
Chelsea. I've gone for Chelsea.
Right. Man City versus Burnley. Man City. That's the FA Cup, of course. Blackpool versus Coventry. I've gone for Blackpool. Rotherham versus Cardiff. Rotherham. Stoke to beat Norwich and Atletico Madrid to beat Valencia. And then in my Arsenal versus Aston Villa, we can win 1,500.
Alex, what's the matter with you, Dave? You've got something wrong with your eyes or something?
I have got something wrong with my eyes. You're very funny. Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. Half-time result, I'll put 2-0. Full-time result, I'll put 3-0. We better. Both teams to score no over 2.5 goals. Yes. Arsenal to have over 6.5 corners. Yes. Palace have over 3.5 corners. No. Arsenal to have 1.5 cards. No. Palace to have over 2.5 cards. Yes. Martinelli to score at any time. He was poor yesterday. Yes.
Yeah, bounce back.
Chance to win £1,500. Martinelli to bounce back. It's a must-win game.
Yeah.
They've sacked Patrick Vieira as well. But if you want to enter, the link is in the description. You can also scan the QR code. Join us in our competition. Go head to head. Try and beat us.
Which ain't hard.
It ain't hard. But
looking at that now, I've actually gone Palace Arsenal 2-0, but I've just generally thought it'd be a tight game, because if you have a look at Palace, and this is why I'm very, very surprised that he's reset, that they just can't score goals. General play's been really
scoring
good.
Goals.
I think now it might be a little bit easier for us.
Well, there's been some people saying, new manager bounce. Oh, why did, that it always happens to Arsenal. The same thing with Everton. They got a brand new manager in. All of a sudden, they were different. The energy was different. Blah blah blah. But I think there's a difference in this game. Number one, Everton, they brought in Sean Dyche. He had a week to work on that team. It weren't long, but he had a week to work on that team. Pump them up. The game was at Goodison.
Yeah.
Right. If the game was at Selhurst Park, but it's not. It's at Arsenal. The game was at Goodison. I think Arsenal are a wounded animal after the other night. I think we've got a chance to ram them a bit of an advantage, because we know that Manchester City are not playing in the Premier League this week. They're playing in the FA Cup. So if we win, we go 8 points clear. We know that we're playing a team that their confidence is low. They haven't scored for, was it no shots on target leading up until that Brighton game in 3 games. Lost during the week. They've also suffered a bad loss, like we suffered a loss. They played on Wednesday, we played on Thursday, so they haven't been able to have loads of time to prepare. Just one day less than us. And I think, all the big guns will start, and I just feel that, the crowd will be up for it. Even the vibe at the Europa League game weren't the same.
No.
I thought he was decent, but it's not the same. Not the same as a Premier League game. And I actually think they've missed a trick. Just personally, I could be wrong, but I would have kept Vieira in charge for this game, because Vieira used to play for Arsenal, gonna come back, gonna want to give it his all to get a result. Getting rid of Vieira now, I don't know. I think that might work to our advantage.
Listen, for me, I'm a big Patrick fan. I think he's done fantastically well there. I'm gonna be really honest and say, I think he might get a poor reaction from the players, because what I've seen of Crystal Palace, those players have not down tools for the manager. They've really worked really hard. I thought, look at the work rate they put in against City.
Yeah.
It was not like they're not playing for their manager. And even against Brighton, that should probably have been 1 or 2-0 up. Like, it's just lack of quality. They can't score. I think it's the game before that, missing open goals. You know, I think at the end of the day, if I was a player of Crystal Palace, I'd be a little bit peeved. Because I think he's a genuinely light bloke, and you know, and
weren't winning though, was he? No winning 12 games.
This is what I say. You know, when you go back about with Mikel Arteta, you know, when people go, "Oh, you wanted him sacked" and all that, like, you know what I mean? In the normal world, you don't survive 10 games unbeaten, 10 games without winning. He did, and I think, you know, a little bit of, you know, who are they going to get better than him?
And the thing is,
talking about Roy Hodgson coming back.
You know the thing is about Vieira as well, right, is that those games that he had some difficult games, man. He had City, Arsenal, he's got Brighton is like away, which is like their deadliest rivals. You know, they weren't easy games to win in that run, were they?
They only just lost to Man United. Do you remember, like, the 2-1? I think Brentford, it was a last minute goal, otherwise they win that game. You know, that was at Brentford. You know what I mean? Like that. It's just, in football, it's fine margins.
Yeah, in that run, I think if I look at that run, so that Newcastle, which they drew, they didn't lose that game.
Was it 0-0, was it?
0-0, right? They're Man United.
Only lost by the odd goal.
They drew that game. Remember at Palace? Man United, they drew that game.
So there you go.
Then they followed that game with Chelsea away, right?
Well, that's the one they lost.
Yeah, they lost that 1-0, right? Then now in the next game in the league is they had Tottenham. They lost that. They were poor that night, but they lost that 4-0. Out of those games, which of those games do you expect them to win? Let's be real. They're not better than Tottenham. They're not better than Chelsea. They're not better than Man United, and they're not better than Newcastle.
Yeah, no. So
right. Then the next set of games, right? They had Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. They drew 0-0, but they're not better than Liverpool. But they got a 0-0 draw. Went away to Brentford. Brentford are flying high this season, right? They got a 1-1 draw. They didn't lose.
Last seconds goal.
Played at home to Brighton. That was 1-1. Didn't lose. Then went away to Man United. Lost 2-1. Now, all of those teams I've named out there are better teams than them.
Yeah, so where do they expect to be?
Then they had played Brighton again, away from home. Lost. Played Man City. Lost that stupid penalty that was given away. Right? You know.
It's a bit harsh, isn't it? Don't you think?
It is.
It's very harsh. Very harsh.
I mean, they only won game. They played Aston Villa. They lost that 1-0, but that was away. You know what I mean? That's not an easy place to go to. And then
the only bad result they've had there is Tottenham.
Yeah. And then when you look
expect Tottenham to still go there and win anyway.
Yeah. And where it's a bit unfair on him, right, is if you then look at the games that he would have had coming up after the international break. Leicester at home, Leeds away, Southampton away, Everton at home, Wolves away, West Ham at home. Those are all games now that they can win.
It's unfair. It's unfair. Crystal Palace should bang out of order.
Because when you look at those 12 games, right, they're not better than any of those teams they face.
And where do you expect Palace to end up there? Say if they lose to Arsenal, right, which you would expect them to lose. Right?
I still think they'll stay up.
And then they go and win 3 or 4 of those games.
I think they will.
They'd be about 10th, 12th.
Yeah. It's a really hard run of games against teams. You know what I mean? It's Crystal Palace. You're not managing. Fair enough if he's managing Tottenham.
Yeah.
He did that. But he's not. You know what I mean, I thought they were pretty harsh. But I guess in football, if you haven't won in 12 games, I think as well that thing about not having a shot on target in 3 games was pretty bad. But you know, Palace fans, be careful what you wish for as well, because you know those.
Well, I don't think the Palace fans have gone against him.
Nah, there's a lot of Palace fans, you know what I mean, that said they wanted him gone.
Well,
right?
Shame on you.
And I'm just saying that when you look at that run that he had, right?
Semi-final.
What you expect them to beat Liverpool? You expect them to beat Tottenham? You expect them to, you know, they're not better than those teams.
Got to semi-final of the FA Cup last year.
Yep. So anyway, listen,
Crystal Palace.
Yeah, Palace. We need you to lose this weekend as well because we need that win, right? That is a game that we must win, Lee.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say it now. I've spoke about it on the Forever Arsenal. I'll say it again now. If Arsenal do not win their next 2 games, any points dropped, they will not win the league.
Yeah, we've got to win those games. And now, and Mikel Arteta said it himself, the focus now is on the league. It's 11 cup finals. There's nothing else to play for. There's no distractions. There's nothing. It's just Premier League or bust. It is just win these games. Win even 9 of those games, draw another, we do it.
Yeah.
Right? The pathway is clear. And as I said, we do not have the distractions of, Manchester City with a 2-legged game against Bayern Munich, and if they get through that, another 2-legged game, right, where they're going to face either Real Madrid or Chelsea. That's tough, right? We have got our focus on one thing, and that is the Premier League, and the Premier League only. And from now till the end of the season, like you said, Lee, no resting of players. No full squad, full team, best team every game. Players
I fear now. I really do fear for Smith Rowe now.
Here's what it is, man. We're going for a title.
No, he's not going to get. No, he's not going to get any minutes.
It's not Mikel Arteta's fault. You guys been injured all season.
No, right.
You've got to be ruthless. You've got to go. This is not. I love Emile Smith Rowe. Last season, him and Saka are our best players. But this thing is about winning a title.
Yeah.
Right. If we win a title and Smith Rowe stays at Arsenal, right, we've got Champions League football next year for him to play, and he could emerge, be one of those most important players in that.
Yeah.
But for right now, we need the best players every single game, right? And I want to see, and I think that could work with the injury record we've had and stuff like that. Despite what Ten Hag or Seven Hag has said in the past, right? We have to play the best 11 in every single game. And
what's your front three then? For Saturday.
Front three for Saturday. That is interesting. For Sunday, Jesus down the middle. I was impressed with his 45 minutes. Yeah. Even though I wasn't impressed by him in the game, but I know he'll bounce back. Martinelli on the Saka on the right. Jesus. Martinelli.
So you're leaving Trossard out?
Trossard will be my impactor.
I'm with you now. He plays his best team. I think maybe Jesus is just a little bit short. So, but I would stick with Trossard in the middle.
I like the energy that Jesus brought. And you know what? I think to beat Palace,
need that little bit of trickery.
We need that early goal. I think against Palace we get a goal early. You don't want them getting a goal early because they can defend pretty well, right? And we don't want a Brentford scenario. We don't want a Bournemouth scenario. We need early goals in these games, right? And I think Jesus, he just makes you create. I mean, same with Trossard, I guess last week, but Jesus, you create so many opportunities.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So I'd go Martinelli, Jesus, and
Saka.
So
it's back to full strength apart. I think Holding.
Partey comes in, Odegaard, Xhaka. At the back, we have to wait and see with Saliba. But listen, half-foot Holding did very well.
Yeah.
So he'd start if anything's wrong with Saliba. Gabriel, Zinchenko, and Ben White.
Ramsdale. Yeah,
Ramsdale at the back. That's the strongest team. That's what we go with, man, and we go to try and win that game. And if we put that team out, and we're going to have to be on it. Don't forget, bad as Palace have been recently, they've got good operators, Elise, Eze, Zaha, and their manager might, who's just standing in for this game, might just say, let's just have a go, man, and see what happens. We don't know what he's going to do. He might say we better be a bit more defensive. I don't know, but we got to marshal those guys well. But if we do, come on, this is a game that we can win. This is a game that we can win. Get 8 points clear, and then see that clear pathway. And honestly, I think we can.
Well, it's a massive game because Man City's next game is Liverpool.
Yeah.
And if you've got that 8 points, that's a bit of pressure. You've got to win every game. Otherwise, that points is going to get into double figures.
Puts you under serious pressure. That's what we've got to be doing. They could lose that game against Liverpool and almost like say to themselves, you know what? Let's just concentrate on the Champions League.
Yeah.
Because we've got Bayern coming up. I don't know. You know what I mean? That's the sort of thing that might start going into Pep's head. So we've got to get that distance. And if we can win the league, anyone can be talking about the Europa. So
we won't be talking about it whatsoever.
Yeah. And we'll be talking about the Champions League music next year and never be in that Europa for again. I don't want to be in it no more. So anyway, we've reached the end of the show today. Don't forget to do our AFTV picks. The link is in the description. Chance to win £10,000 in the PICK10 on Saturday, and part of the pot, 1,500 pot for the Sunday Crystal Palace Arsenal special at the Emirates Stadium. But yeah, thanks Lee for the thing. I want to know from you.
Happy Mother's Day for Sunday as well.
Happy Mother's Day for Sunday, and I want to know from you guys. Is it a blessing or a curse? How do you feel about us going out of the Europa League, especially now knowing who we would have had?
I think
going
that softens
forth.
the bow a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, knowing who we would have had, which it would have been Juventus, and if we'd have beaten Juventus, it would be Man United or Sevilla, probably Man United, and knowing the pathway that Manchester City now face, where they're going to have to play Bayern Munich home and away, and if they get past that, Real Madrid or Chelsea to get to the final of Champions League, do you now look on it either as a blessing or a curse that we're not in the competition no more, and we can go full pelt at the league? Really want to hear from you guys in the comments. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe here to AFTV, and I will see you with Lee next week with another Invincible podcast. The Invincible podcast. Myself, Robbie, and Lee Judges come together once a week to discuss all things Arsenal. Straight talking, considered discussion, brought to you by the fans of the only club in Football League history to go invincible.